Was that when you started feeling the ball rolling towards where you wanted to explore?
Well, I've always wanted to be in television.
Oh,
I went to college, studied communications.
right.
But when I got out of college, I realized it was BC, meaning not, before cable. And the opportunities was slim,
Right.
And if I did want to start out in broadcasting, I would have to start out in Boise, Idaho, then move on to Topeka, Kansas, and if you're really good, maybe Columbus, Ohio, in a few years.
Sky's the limit.
And then maybe in 8 to 10 years, I'll make it to Philadelphia. So I realized the progression of what I wanted to do was going to be a long and difficult one. And I had been away 5 years, and that's when I decided instead of, and I have one more story to put this in perspective.
Sure, please.
When I was graduating, that's when I had to make a decision. Am I going to go into broadcasting or teaching? And I guess it was the end of my senior year. The football coach handed me a letter, and it had a big red logo of an Indian in the left-hand corner. So I opened it up, and it's a letter from the Washington Redskins, from no other than Vince Lombardi, because that was his first year, 1970, as the GM and coach.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey, we'd like to invite you to our camp, which starts on blah, blah, blah. Our scouts have watched you play, and, we think you'd be a good fit for the Washington Redskins. So, but I'm already enrolled in graduate school.
Right.
And coming from where I came from, education was really important, And I thought about it, and I said, I just had 4 years playing in high school, 4 years playing in college, didn't get seriously hurt. I'm still in one piece.
Mm-hmm.
Do I go to graduate school or go try out for the Washington Redskins? In those days, Alex, there was no money in pro football.
Which is amazing to think about.
Yeah.
In retrospect.
Like Joe Namath made $400,000.
Wow.
And that was like, wow.
Yeah.
The average play was making maybe 40 grand, 35 grand.
Yeah.
And they all worked in the off season as car salesmen, liquor salesmen. They all got jobs in the off season. So money was not the motivation for going for pro football back in the early 70s. The money didn't come to the late 80s, 90s.
Right.
So I thought about it, and I said, I was already enrolled.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep going with the education. Now, if it was like it is today, where you 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, I would have been on the next plane to Washington, no doubt.
Yeah.
And give it a shot and say,
Right.
I'll worry about graduate school later.
Sure.
But, that was my rationale. I never had been hurt. There was no really money in it, and I wanted to continue my education. So I wrote Mr. Lombardi a nice letter. Thank you for the invite, but I've decided to continue my education. Best of luck this season.